Sit down if you want to.
Right in the middle of what's going on.
I'm in the middle of an interrogation.
Take a seat, young Skywalker.
The middle children of history, man.
Middle of the day, Alfred?
Please, take a seat there.
Right now, I'm in the middle of nowhere.
Stop the middle, it's a base hit!
Meeting in the middle.
Slide.
They fought for the freedom of middle.
The middle of a war.
The middle of a war!
Freaking ridiculous!
Why don't we have a seat and talk it over?
No! Not the middle seat!
Welcome, everyone, to the Middle Seats Podcast, the best seat of the house for all things movies and entertainment. I'm Drew Auger, joined, as always, by Jake Hensler and Nate Lungarini. You are listening to our review of Dolittle, which, of course, is the, I guess infamous is kind of mean, but, like, it's true. The infamous new Robert Downey Jr. blockbuster cost $175 million to make. We'll be reviewing it in non-spoilers, then give our ratings on the seat scale, then move into our spoilers section for the review. You can look for the time codes in the description to skip to different parts of that. This is part of a bigger whole. If you're listening to this on YouTube, which you obviously are, be sure to go back and listen to our Lobby Talk segments where we talk about Oscar predictions and we talk about other great news like National Treasure 3. There's a lot of good stuff. But for now, let's move into our review of Dolittle.
Are you Dr. Dolittle?
We've no choice but to embark on this perilous journey.
Everyone pack your bags!
I'm unavailable.
You can talk to animals.
Yes. Hello, Patty. Hello, lunch. This is very bad.
I'm coming, Doc! Nobody told me there'd be a dragon!
I'm too beautiful to die.
To myself, oh, what a wonderful world.
That was a snippet of the trailer for Dolittle, which is, let's do air quotes, directed by Steven Goggin. I say that because this is a $175 million production that has been pushed back like 3 times, and there's been a lot of reshoots. It's one of those movies where, on opening weekend, the Thursday it's coming out, The Hollywood Reporter or Deadline releases like a 15-paragraph expose about how troubled the production was. Right at the center of it is Robert Downey Jr. Him and his wife are producers on this. The cast is actually pretty crazy. In human roles, we have Robert Downey Jr., Antonio Banderas, Michael Sheen, Jim Broadbent, Harry Collette, who is a newcomer. And then in voice roles, playing, of course, the animals that Dr. Dolittle can talk to, Emma Thompson, Rami Malek, John Cena, Kumail Nanjiani, Tom Holland, Craig Robinson, Octavia Spencer, Selena Gomez, Marion Cotillard, Jason Mantzoukas, and Ralph Fiennes. Just quickly, the plot. Dr. Dolittle lives in solitude. His wife has died. He doesn't want to see anybody. His only companionship comes from the exotic animals, but then people come knocking on his door. The queen has gone ill. Basically, if she dies, Dr. Dolittle loses his house, which seems a little bit of a selfish motivation to go and save her, but they go on a quest to save the queen and find the cure for the mysterious poison that she's drank. So guys, a lot of thoughts involved with this, and yet no thoughts at all, because this is a very interesting movie to talk about in that it is a lot and nothing at all at the same time.
Spoiler alert, Andrew, we're not even there yet.
Well, Jake, let's start with you. What would be your general thoughts here on Dolittle?
I know exactly how I want to start this. I saw it yesterday. When the credits rolled, a little kid, I think it was a little girl, I don't know, little ways down the aisle from me, stood up and goes, "I loved it. That was the best movie I've seen in my life." I did not have the same experience.
Crushing dreams, Jake.
I related more to her grandfather, who was very old, couldn't walk on his own, had a cane, and was up and out the door faster than anybody. That's who I related to.
like Willy Wonka.
Yeah,
he looks
honestly,
like old and decrepit and does a backflip.
The man's cane fell at the beginning of the movie, and he himself couldn't get up to pick it up. He was out of that chair in a second. So, yeah, it was pretty great.
I take it he didn't stick around for the post-credit scene.
No, he was out. I actually did, and I don't know why I did, but I did. I felt more like the grandfather. I was like, get me out of here. This was not fun. This was not well made. This was just... I think there were 3 moments where I cracked a smile from what was a scowl for most of the movie. Yeah, was not a fan. This was pretty dull.
That's a good word for it. Not to give away my review. Nate, let's go to you here.
Dull is a good word. I think it was just kind of boring. I know it's a synonym, but definitely was flashy, and I think maybe a young kid will like this movie, like the one that Jake had in his theater, like the couple of kids that were in mine.
Right.
It's flashy enough, and like I was a big animal kid growing up, and this movie is full of them, so you'll get something out of it. I don't think it's as atrocious as some other critics have come out to attack this movie. Like, this is getting railed on worse than Cats. Cats is an abomination. This is just boring and really poorly put together. This movie feels like there was just no pre-production. It was more just like, go to location, ad-lib your scene from your storyboard, just kind of like the summary of the moment you need to get.
But like stick figures, and
then go to the next one. And there's no good transition scenes from anything.
Yes.
Even like in the same like action piece, characters are just like popping up out of random moments, and we're just like, was there a script here before they went for it, or did they just do it all after the fact and just try to edit together? That's what this movie felt like to me. It felt like a jumbled mess that's gonna be entertaining for a very young kid, but as a adult watching this, it was just boring and stupid.
I have thoughts where I agree with you, and this is a thought I have every time I come out of these movies, because obviously we're not little kids. We don't know how little kids think, but at a certain point when we're complimenting a movie and we're saying little kids like it, little kids need to understand English, but the parents have to sit through it. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those where it's like, when is the line drawn where we're just recommending it for people that aren't even toilet trained? It's just tough. It's funny because I literally have written here on my notes, both Nate and Jake, you both said this, I have very boring and dull is the first thing that I have written. This is one of those movies that's supposed to be a grand adventure. It's supposed to be engaging for kids. This movie, it's just very rote, very generic. Doolittle's just crying about his wife the whole time. He's very grumpy and stubborn. He's not fun to be around. I don't know who the hell told Robert Downey Jr. it was a good idea to do that accent, because it's like he tried it for 5 minutes in front of the mirror and nobody told him no.
One of the things that the movie is being totally bombasted with, and justifiably so, is the fact that I think a good quarter, maybe a third of Robert Downey Jr.'s lines are told with his back towards the camera.
Yeah, so it's ADR. Yeah,
that they essentially ad-libbed it in post, and the one shot that we had of you just didn't work. The quality was bad, Downey. You got to do it again, and we can't show your face because it's not going to match up.
Which leads me to ask, like, how much of this movie did they actually shoot and use? Because most of this movie is CGI. And, like, how much of it is just a computer? Because the effects are really not very good, in my opinion. Like, they would have been impressive probably in, like, 2006, but we're in 2020. Like, some of these animals, they either don't look good or they saved money. There are shots of, like, they're like wide shots where you hear the animals talking. You'll hear, like, Kumail Nanjiani as the ostrich and John Cena as the polar bear talk to each other. These animals are not in the frame. Like, they're not. They're just saving money with the ADR.
I noticed some of that, too. There are times where, like the giraffe will be talking, and then, like, 2/3 of the sentence they'll cut. And I'm like, what? Was she done? What happened? Like, why did you cut mid-sentence? From somebody who knows nothing about post-production, I can tell you that's bad editing. What are we doing?
Let's address the cast here a little bit, because I like to call these movies blackmail/paying your dues movies, where it's very much like either the producer had pictures of people, or they had, like, Robert Downey Jr. was calling in favors left and right, because this cast is so overqualified for what they're asked to do.
There's 5 Oscar winners in here.
Right.
I don't know how you can get much better than that.
And a Spider-Man. And
I understand you need to get a little bit of star power. Now, I'm not asking you to cast the cast of Parasite as the animals. Like, I understand you want to have names on your post. That would be amazing. I'm just thinking about that.
Yeah, that sounds great.
That sounds awesome. I understand you want Rami Malek in there because he's got a lot of heat right now, and John Cena, and obviously Tom Holland has worked with Robert Downey Jr., so you want these people in there. But then give them something to do. And like the live action people fare even worse. Like Michael Sheen is basically playing a live action version of that magician from the Frosty the Snowman skit. Like I don't know I don't know what's going on with half of this, and I just think there's no direction.
Yeah, they've straight up everything around Michael Sheen's character was blatantly garbage. Just stupid.
like not even subtle garbage.
Like even if this was one of the first movies you had ever seen, it might be okay. But the jokes are like so unoriginal, so lazy, so...
I think the most egregious part about the jokes is that it's just silly talking. It's just animals making funny voices.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, like...
There's no even humor about the animals. Like, there's so many animal puns that you could make at this, or... like visual humor of the animals in weird situations. We get a little bit about that with the ostrich in the Buckingham Palace in like the first act. But after that, it's just animals walking around saying silly things. There's no creativity in the jokes whatsoever.
They're saying silly things, and they're also saying things that no kids will understand. This is one of those movies that has like references to other movies that like, oh, is the 4-year-old in the audience going to understand that reference right there? Like,
right.
And how many times has a kids movie done the Godfather reference?
That's what I'm saying. Like, who the hell is that for?
It's not for adults anymore. They've seen it 10 times now, 10 other kids movies.
Right. It must be for Grandpa who remembers seeing it as a teen in the theater, like Jake's friend.
There was a point. Actually, yeah, this is what I want to address. Why was the first 5 minutes animated?
Oh,
the movie opens and I went, what is this?
I thought that was pretty cute.
No, I love that animation, and I think the movie completely accidentally pitched a better version of itself.
Yep. 100%.
I was just so caught off guard.
Like, it was in like the Klaus style from Netflix, it almost seemed like.
Yeah.
Like almost hand-drawn animated, and really, really cool. And that's where you could have gotten so much more creative with how the animals look, exploring the world, exploring Doolittle's house, the island. There's so many more visual details that you could have packed into an animated package, but you kept on trying to accommodate for the live action actors in this version of the movie, and the movie suffered for it because you were just constantly jumping around from scene to scene. Oh, Downey's got to make room for the polar bear in this shot, so let's move him over a couple frames and hope it works out.
I was like, there are so many times where they're obviously blatantly trying to just fit all these stars and give them their lines in this movie. But for the animation, maybe I didn't see what you guys saw, but for me, I was like, do they just not have a beginning for this movie, so they threw in an animation? Is that what happened?
That's also very possible. Like Nate put it perfectly. They accidentally pitched a good movie. Right. Like, if you had told me this movie was directed by the polar bear, I would have believed you, because there's just no semblance of flow. It's just all over the place.
Yeah, there's no flow at all.
And I want to transition into spoilers because, I mean, the internet has spoiled what we're going to talk about in spoilers already.
I wish it didn't.
It's just, it is so boring for 3/4 of the movie, and then does one of the craziest things I have ever seen in one of these movies, which we will talk about in a bit. That's called tease.
I wish I didn't know it going in.
Me too. And even then, it still can't prepare you for what we're about to talk about.
Because I probably out loud would have went, what?
Yeah.
I got nothing.
Let's move into our ratings here. If you're joining us for the first time, we rate movies on what is called the seat scale. If we think a movie has no flaws, which I'm sure Jake is going to give this movie a royal throne. If we think a movie has minimal flaws and is mostly great, we give it a plush recliner. The inverse of that, if we think a movie is pretty good but also has some major glaring flaws, we give it a wooden seat. If we think a movie is like not very good but not irredeemable, we give it a damp lawn chair. If we think a movie is like a disaster, like really bad, we give it a sleazy outhouse. And if we think you need to see it in theaters, we give it the bag of popcorn moniker. So I have a feeling I have a range of where we're all going to land on this, but just confirm it for me, Nate. What would you give Dolittle?
All right. I am going to go damp lawn chair. It's not a like close to wooden seat damp lawn chair. It's a firm, soggy damp lawn chair on this one. I'll reserve sleazy outhouses for movies that make me genuinely angry. This didn't quite get me there because I was too bored to have any sort of emotional investment into it. Robert Downey Jr., is not good in this. The supporting cast, like Jake said earlier, they're just peppering in, like, almost in kindergarten line order. Like, all right, it's going to be Octavia's line here, Tom Holland's line here, just down the chain. So they don't really have much to do here either. They're just expositioning or making a corny joke that isn't even funny. So not too much redeemable about this movie other than the fact that it's bright and colorful and didn't make me angry. Glowing review.
Wow,
from Nick
yeah,
Magrini.
put that on the poster.
Yeah, I don't know you get credit for not making someone angry, but I don't think you get points for that.
I didn't want my money
I hear
back.
you.
Congratulations, yeah. No, I feel you though. No, we're giving you a hard time, but I feel what you're saying. Yeah.
So now that I guess it's my turn, Andrew doesn't have to pitch it to me.
I no.
So yeah, it's not. This movie didn't piss me off. I just thought the first 10 minutes of the boy hunting and whatever was stupid, blatantly bad.
That kid sucks, by the way.
Yeah, he was not good.
I mean, he's acting against green sticks the whole time, but still.
Yeah, and then it's just generally dull and not exciting for most of it. And then the ending is just kind of dumb again. But it never pissed me off like Nate said. But I'm trying to think of the redeemable qualities, and the only things I can come up with are the squirrel, played by Craig Robinson, made me crack a smile once or twice.
Same.
Kumail Nanjiani as the ostrich made me crack a smile once or twice.
Same.
And John Cena as the polar bear had one or two lines that made me crack a smile, and then nothing else anywhere. So I think I'm going to be a little harsh on it and go Sleazy Outhouse, because I'm also forgetting the movie 24 hours later. That's a bad sign.
Yeah, it's like Memento.
It didn't piss me off, but I think I have to go Sleazy Outhouse. I got to be a little harsh here.
Yeah, here's why I'm going Sleazy Outhouse to start with it. Nate, I agree. It didn't offend me when I was watching it. And then I left and I thought about just how many famous people are in this, how much money they spent to just make an empty black hole void of a movie. $175 million used for this piece of garbage when Australia is on fire and we could be sending that money over there.
Oh, lordy.
Among many other things. So that's what gets me about it. This movie brings nothing to the table and it leaves with all of your dignity. It's a sleazy outhouse used by all of the animals in this movie. I would not.
Oh, man.
I really wouldn't venture. Let's get into spoilers. There's not too much to spoil, but there is, as Sid in Toy Story said, there is the big one. So we'll get into that. If you have not seen Dolittle, good for you.
It doesn't matter. You can tune in.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Anyway, everybody, come along.
Join us on this ride. Tune in.
Let's talk about Dolittle spoilers.
Whoa! Oh, spoiler alert.
Spoiler! Spoiler!
Excuse me, spoiler alert.
Let's just skip to the end here. Because
please.
There's no reason.
It's the only thing really worth talking about.
No, we go to the end. This movie has more in common with Uncut Gems than I thought it would, to be completely honest. Uncut Gems begins with butt stuff, and this one ends with butt stuff.
Oh, that's what you meant.
I mean, Adam Sandler versus a dragon is a little different. But basically, the dragon has something like colon cancer or something like that. He's colon something.
Let's get this clear for people that are tuned in and didn't hear it. There's a dragon at the end of this movie.
Oh yeah, there's that too. Yeah,
they're legitimately.
Yeah, it's guarding the magic tree that has the medicine they need to save the queen. So the dragon is at the end of the island here. Dolittle does his thing where he's running away from the dragon for the first little bit, but then uses his powers to talk to the dragon and get him to relate because they've both lost a loved one. And then it takes the weirdest turn this side of 2020.
I love that Dolittle relates to the dragon because they're both widowers. Yeah. Okay.
Well, and that's like a genuine heartfelt moment, and then we pivot. Drew, take it away, please.
So the dragon has something stuck in its colon, so they need to perform emergency colon surgery on the dragon to make it happy and live again. So all the animals are there. Basically, they flip the dragon over, and the dragon just rips one. And it turns out that stuck in the dragon's asshole and back area is, among many other things, a bagpipe.
Okay.
It's just like this is what Simon and Garfunkel were talking about when they were talking about The Sound of Silence, because just nothing. Like Joaquin Phoenix Joker laugh from Nate. Stunned silence from Jake, who is losing the movie as we talk about it right now. I see it coming out your ears. Yeah.
Like, I legitimately could not believe it. Like we said, the internet spoiled this far and wide before any of us had even gotten close to the theater for this one.
I wish they had it.
There was one dude on Twitter that was like, I won't spoil which movie, but there's a dragon and there's bagpipes. So like, I don't think it's Bad Boy for Life, dude. Like, I think there's only one option.
Whatever. But like, I went in expecting like that to just be the fart joke, you know? But this whole pulling stuff out of the dragon's ass goes on for like 3 minutes.
Yeah, way too long.
It was like, okay, I'm uncomfortable now. I'm uncomfortable for the small children in this theater now. What the hell was this decision?
The concept of like a dragon having armor and bagpipes stuck up its ass, like there's maybe something there?
No, the answer is no, Jake.
No, it wasn't executed well and it goes on too long. Like every so often you can get me with a fart joke. This did not do it. Ugh,
I don't know, boys.
I wish they didn't spoil this, because this is a prime example of a movie with ridiculous concepts still going out of the realm of reality. So this is a movie where a man is gifted with being able to talk to animals. Great. Other than that, it takes place in reality. Why is there a dragon and magic fruit at the end? What are we talking about? What happened? Where did you go?
I got nothing.
Yeah.
And like even the magical element of being able to talk to animals is completely thrown out by the end of the movie, because the little kid is able to pick up all this animal speak by the end. It's just like taking an elective. Intro to Spanish? No, intro to I'm gonna talk to fish and whales and dragonflies.
Yeah. Homeboy picks that up in 10 days. Like,
yeah,
I
really thought they were gonna Star Wars it and have him related to Robert Downey Jr. Like, oh, it was actually your son, you never knew. And I was like, here we go. I really thought they were gonna do it, and I was getting mad.
Oh, other than that, the villain's plan is stupid. Yeah. Like, if there's even a chance he can talk to the animals, why are we risking it by talking about the evil plan in front of the animals?
Yep.
I don't know.
One point that I wanted to make up with, just elaborating a little bit more about what I said earlier about this feels like a storyboard film and they didn't account for transition scenes in between. My favorite example of this is when they go to like the pirate island or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, with RuPaul Antonio Banderas, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like that whole setup. They have to interject with narration for the first time in the entire movie outside the intro and the outro. Yeah. They're like, oh shoot, we totally did not like film Robert Downey Jr. explaining why they have to go to this island, so let's just have the parrot do it in voiceover narration like she's telling us a bedtime story. It's the only other time it shows up in the movie. It makes no sense whatsoever. And it's totally post-production people saying, you gotta call the parrot lady back in. Like, we physically cannot edit this movie together without narration.
The parrot lady, Oscar winner Emma Thompson.
I kind of want a short, but a documentary made about the making of this movie, because what happened? And why is Downey Jr. attached to it?
Like, I get from a logistics standpoint why he would want to do it. Like, it's another big popular character, but they're now apparently, I haven't seen a lot of them, but they're apparently 0 for 4 with Dr. Dolittle. Because the Eddie Murphy, I've seen the Eddie Murphy's second one, and that was terrible as well. I've not seen the one from the 60s. It was nominated for Best Picture, but there was only like 8 movies back then, so.
Right, they all got nominated for Best Picture.
Yeah, I obviously have not seen the original. I remember the first Eddie Murphy one all right, but I couldn't tell you the plot or anything that I thought was funny from it.
The only thing I remember about the second one, and this, I can see Jake loving this movie growing up. The bear has like diarrhea at a diner and like blows up one of the toilets. Yeah, it's the Kangaroo Jack syndrome again, where it's just like it would be Jake's Best Picture of the year.
Kangaroo Jack's not a bad movie.
Yeah, it is. Let's move on. It's a very bad movie. Kangaroo Jack is in our top 5 movies discussed on this podcast by far. Like, it comes up way too much.
Going back to this movie's production, though, I'm under the impression that Robert Downey Jr. and his wife like co-produced this movie.
They
this
did,
is like almost
yeah.
a passion project, right?
Yep, they did.
So I don't understand how this could have gone so wrong.
You had a heavy-handed Marvel. What
They
happened?
just picked the wrong dude to direct it. I don't know. Going back to the slapdash kind of piece together part of it, the animal characters, their own little side subplots are like, they were not written. You can't convince me they were written, because they were definitely things that came up like Kumail Nanjiani's ostrich and John Cena's polar bear have like a relationship that comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
They introduce it when they're first on the boat, and then they resolve it like 15 minutes later. It's like, oh, we don't get along because you're a bird that doesn't fly and you're a polar bear that's kind of a pussy.
Yeah, I didn't realize that was supposed to be their arc. I just thought that was like funny banter between the two
Yeah.
of them. But then that was the
And then all of a
character.
sudden,
I'm like,
one saves
what?
the other, and it's a happy arc. And I was like, oh, okay.
We're friends
All right,
now.
then.
Okay, cool. Like, all right. And then, like we said, they just got Rami Malek to put on his pussiest voice and just like be scared the whole movie. And then he's not.
And then punch a tiger in the nuts. Good lord.
A tiger voiced by Ray Fiennes, which like, oh my god.
Who's also kind of a bitch of a tiger.
Right.
Like, what's up? Why is Ray Fiennes in this movie?
I don't know. Like, the Craig Robinson stuff I thought was kind of funny at the beginning, where he's like, day 12, I'm still alive, my murderer is still here. I thought that was like funny for like a line or two, and then they kept going.
Yeah, there were parts where I had, you know those little things where you go, huh. I had a couple of those, and that was it.
Yeah. All right, boys, let's wrap this up here. I think we're running out of things.
Please.
I don't really have anything else to say.
Yeah. So, Jake, one more word on Dolittle.
Why?
Literally one word. Okay, we're done. Nate, I guess one more word on Dolittle.
Mess.
All right.
Mine would be PETA, as in call PETA, because this is an assault to all animals everywhere. What a train wreck. It's kind of what we expected, but still.
A pure disaster.
Yeah, This coming December, when I'm compiling my favorite movies of the year 2020, I will go, oh, right, I saw this. This came out. And that will be it.
Maybe this will be the movie that we have to watch 3 times in a row for the box office challenge.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy. Indeed.
I don't know if I could do that.
I could, but I will be drinking.
Yeah, I guess it couldn't be the worst thing. Whatever. That's a whole separate conversation. That'll do it for our review of Dolittle and wrap up this episode of the Middle Seats podcast. Before we go, Nate Longarini, where can they find us on the internet?
Alrighty, here's how you can get in touch with us. Please like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Middle Seats. You can also listen to us on the go on all your podcast platforms, including SoundCloud, iTunes, Stitcher, and Spotify. For questions, comments, and updates on the show, keep an eye on our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, all at The Middle Seats. And if you like what you hear and you want to see more content, let us know and spread the word.
It's pretty safe to say, I'm going to go out on a limb, boys, and say that Dolittle will not be on our best of 2020 list. But we already put out our best of 2019 list. So if you haven't listened to that yet, please give that a shot. Obviously, we talked about Star Wars recently and Knives Out, a lot of movies that are still circulating around the masses that we want you to potentially see or not see. You have to listen to the review to find out. In the coming weeks, we'll have to discuss what we're talking about. I think probably our next movie will be Birds of Prey, but we'll have to discuss that with the group, and we'll get back to you at some point. Also, look out. We're going to be doing some fun things with our Best of the Decade, too, as well. We each selected 3 movies that were special to us, and we'll be revealing them as the coming weeks go, as we move closer to Oscar season and finally putting a bow on 2019 and the 2010s en masse. That will do it for this episode of the Middle Seats podcast. For Nate Longarini and Jake Hensler, I'm Andrew O'Jay. Keep that seat warm, everyone. We'll be back soon.